everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 53. Now, avid listeners might, be wondering if there's some sort of a mistake or if something happened that the podcast is going up late. And the answer to that is, quite honestly, I was just really drained after my 13 Days of Spooktober event. For anyone who doesn't know, over on my channel, from the 19th to the 31st, each day of, Spooktober, as I call it, I had a video in the daytime and a video at nighttime. And, that was it was about 26, maybe 27 videos I ended up releasing. And basically, it was a video in the daytime, some sort of a review of something horror related, or, some sort of a list or that sort of thing. And then at night, I would cover a horror movie from 2019, and I called it my Freaky Flicks. So every day from the 19th to the 31st, you can expect to see some sort of a review, or, something else that had to do with horror, and then some sort of a movie review at night. And yeah, guys, it was a lot of work, and even though I am quite proud of it, don't get me wrong, near the end, stuff just kept happening. I felt like it was cursed, whether it was audio desync in the videos or copyright issues, or heck, Spooktober was technically already over. There was this video that I wanted to release as kind of a leftover sort of thing that was a list I collabed with a channel called Oxshocks on. I had a plan to release that on the 28th or something like that, but, he wasn't able to finish the video on time. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll release it, as soon as I can. And even though Spooktober was over by the time I got, to it, and I was trying to release it, stress-free, even that video felt cursed. Where, apparently I exported the wrong video and uploaded it, and it wasn't until a subscriber told me, hey, you might want to check your video. It seems kind of weird. Are you sure this is what you try to upload? That's when I realized that I had to take it down, re-export the right file, and re-upload it, and it just took all day. So yeah, for anyone wondering, like I said, long story short, why the podcast is going up a bit late, that's why. Even though usually my podcast goes up on Friday, maybe early Saturday, by the time this goes up, it'll probably be late Sunday, maybe early Monday. And like I said, it's just because I felt really drained. And even though I did plan to do an episode this week, I just decided to, just not worry about it. And just, better late than never. I'll do it when I get to it, But yeah, that aside, guys, with Spooktober out of the way, with all the spookiness defeated, and you can shove all of your skeletons back in your closet. With Spooktober, done, hopefully the channel goes back to relatively normal. And yeah, hopefully this Wednesday, I'll have a little review of something that I wanted to talk about in October but didn't get to. And the podcast should be up on, Friday next time. So hopefully everything will be back to normal. So, with that being said, of course, I was going to say, let's dive into my week. When it comes to my week, nothing too special. Didn't get to do too much because of, as I mentioned, being really busy. However, I did watch anime that I've talked about up to now, and I did get to play one new game. So basically, I guess I'll talk about the 4 anime that, I did talk about them last week, but I'll talk about them again really quick, and it'll be kind of my last impression until the end of the season, and I'll talk about the game that I played, because it's something really fun that I'm actually quite excited to share, so. Starting with the anime though, first thing on the list, same as last week, I watched My Hero Academia Season 4. Now, this episode, I really liked it. I think that it's definitely starting to gear up, while the episodes before this were a little slower, and they had to do more with just kind of, helping you dip back into the series again. In this one, a bit more happened. Basically, Deku, he goes to a guy named Night Eye, that used to be All Might's partner, and he wants to have an internship with him, and he meets Night Eye, and Night Eye is this really hardcore, really scary guy, really intimidating. So it was really fun to see the interactions between Deku and this guy Night Eye or whatever. And as it's expected, he did eventually agree to help, Deku intern there or whatever. So that was really cool. And besides that, other big stuff that happened. I won't really spoil it, but Deku met other people that seem like they're going to be very big this season. like other big players, you know, both supporting and antagonistic, you know. So yeah, you know, it feels like it's starting to finally pick back up, you know. Like I said, we saw he's going to be an intern. We met the guy who used to be All Might's partner. We had some good stuff, you know, where Deku meets, like I said, the two pretty big players, one antagonistic and one supporting. And yeah, it looks like we're finally, you know, getting there. We're starting to build up. And so I am excited. So there you go, you know. Hopefully, if you're not already watching My Hero Academia, I recommend it. I think the show is really fun, really good. It's available basically anywhere from what I've seen. And yeah, season 4 is underway, and it seems like it's really starting to build back up. So I think now is a time to, you know, get into it. So there you go. Next up, we have Beastars, and this time I did manage to watch 4 episodes. You know, I watched, last time I had a report on it, I had watched 2 episodes. This time I did get to watch another 2. You know, due to like the scheduling of this and how, you know, it was a bit like later than usual. And out of all the anime this season, I want to say Beastars is the one that intrigues me the most, because it just has like a very interesting like lore and stuff going on. You know, like last time, you know, I left off. Well, no, I mean, I guess it's kind of spoiler. Maybe I won't get into that. Best way to describe it, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Kind of reminds me of like the anime version of Zootopia. We live, you know, the characters, you know, that we're focusing on, they live in a world where there's both prey and predator. Prey, of course, is like the animals, like the rabbits, the deer, you know, that sort of thing, that are more like herbivores, you know, more like calm animals, smaller animals. And then we have predators, which are like the bigger animals, the carnivores, you know, like wolves and tigers and, you know, that sort of thing. And our main character, he's a character named Legoshi, and basically he's a wolf. And he's a wolf who seems to be struggling with like keeping his inner carnivore like under control, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like a lot, like, you know, up to now he already attacked this rabbit girl and he was feeling really guilty about it. And I won't really say what's up with his relationship with her, but there's definitely some sort of like an interesting dynamic there of like him being like interested in her and him being like worried about getting too close to her because he doesn't want to like hurt her and attack her. And there's also this huge dynamic where a big part of the anime seems to be about the drama club at this school. And sure enough, you know, there's this interesting dynamic where like the leader of the drama club, like the star, his name is Lewis, and he's like this deer guy. And basically he hurts his leg and he won't be able to perform like the main part. And so this tiger guy takes over. And it's really interesting, you know, in episode 4, you know, I'll try not to like spoil too much. But yeah, you kind of see that the tiger guy, who's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be like the main part and I'll try to do my best or whatever. You kind of see how he's very two-faced. And as he's kind of fighting Legoshi, because Legoshi is supposed to be like one of the villains that's fighting, you know, the tiger guy who's now the main character, it's interesting how they each have like a different approach to being like a carnivore. Like Legoshi, you know, he's more like ashamed of it. He wants to keep it under control. And he kind of thinks that, you know, he doesn't want to like show off really. Like he tries to keep to himself and be shy. And this tiger guy, we kind of see that he thinks of being a carnivore as like, you deserve to be on top and you should like give in to the urges and just let yourself go wild sort of thing. Like it's hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but I just thought it was an interesting dynamic. And yeah, I mean, Beastars this season is probably one of like the ones I'm most intrigued in, like the most interested in week to week, because it's just such a strange anime, and the way it really plays, like I said, with this idea of like predator and prey and carnivores, you know, like in this world, it seems like they can lose control. And so it's about them choosing to like, you know, control themselves or not. Like, I don't know. It's just very interesting. Like there's definitely some interesting lore here. And so every week that I'm watching it, I just continue to be really interested and intrigued. It is the one that I said it is a bit harder to reach. I mean, get a reach of, because it is, I think, like a Netflix exclusive only in Japan. But if you can somehow find the files online, or if you can remember to like keep an eye out for it and wait for it, I really recommend Beastars. I think it's very interesting. And yeah, I look forward to watching more of it. And hopefully it continues with the quality. And when I, you know, talk about it again, you know, a few weeks down the road when the season ends, hopefully I have some good things to say about it, you know? So there you go. Next on the list is No Guns Life. No Guns Life is the one about the detective. He's like a cyborg that has like a gun head. And I believe I talked about the first 3 episodes last time. This time I'll, kind of talk about episode 4. And then once again, I won't like, touch upon it until like, weeks down the road when the season's almost over. But yeah, last time where we left off, I think like basically you can almost call them mobsters. They came to like the gun detective guy's home. They were asking him for help. The detective guy basically told him to like screw themselves. He wasn't going to help them. He's working together with this like engineer girl that does all sorts of like fixes of like cybernetic people. She helps him all the time. He has this kid that he saved. He has like the power to like put his consciousness into like other cyborg people. It's like, that's really interesting, and basically it ended last episode where the kid wants to save other kids from being experimented on. He doesn't want them to like kind of have the same fate as him, and so he takes over the gun guy's body and he goes to try to fight these evil cyborgs or whatever. And it kind of ends where they kind of, I think it was like these two girls, they kind of say that they're gonna like fight him. And he's like, you don't have to do this, I'm here to try to help you. But like it's kind of like to live, they need to fight. And that's kind of where it ended, I think. And episode 4 was all about the kid realizing how foolish he was, how conceited he was, that he can't use the gun guy's body. He thought it'd be easy, but it's not. And so he kind of gives the consciousness back to the gun guy. The gun guy helps him get out of the situation, helps him fight these two girls that are kind of prisoners basically, and they're fighting for their lives. And yeah, at the end, they kind of get the job done, you can say. And the gun guy talks to the kid and they kind of strike up a partnership where he praises him and he tells him he appreciates what he's trying to do and, he's a brave kid and all that. But he warns them, never take over my body again because, he's pissed about it. And he kind of says that he'll help him, I guess. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting, seeing this story, how it's played out so far with this gun guy. He's a detective. He's fighting all of these different criminals and stuff in the underworld. There's this whole thing going on with kids and all sorts of people being experimented on and turned into living weapons. So I don't know, just the way the story's progressing is really interesting. I definitely want to see where it goes. I think, the visuals are really good. I think the characters are really interesting. This kid, seeing him go through all these, seeing him go through the realization that he can't control the gun guy's body. He kind of needs his help. That was interesting. Seeing him, admit that he was wrong about just rushing into situations. That was cool. Seeing how at the end, the gun guy kind of strikes a partnership with the kid where it looks like they're gonna work together. That was really nice. And yeah, just the fighting was interesting too. Because these two girls that are basically prisoners that are fighting for their lives or whatever. There was a sweet moment between them where they're basically sisters and they don't want to fight and they don't want to lose control of themselves. And seeing them kind of trying to stick together and stuff was sad, So I've enjoyed the anime so far. I think it's really good. Like I said, I'm always, it's kind of like the Beastars one. I'm always intrigued to see what's going to happen the next week. I really want to see where this story goes. And minor spoilers, but we saw the gun guy get used as a gun. He shot out of his head. So that was really interesting. So just want to throw that in there. But yeah, No Guns Life, I recommend it. I think it's a really fun story so far. It's really interesting. And I believe that is on, I want to say it's a Funimation exclusive. I'm not too sure. But, it's one of those things where you can always look it up, see if whatever service near you has it. But No Guns Life, definitely a thumbs up for me. I recommend it. I would say check it out. Alrighty, finally, I just want to touch upon Rifle is Beautiful. This episode, this newest episode, it had the girls go to another school and they were competing in a little shooting competition. And yeah, it continues to just be very cute, very low stakes, just very character driven, and comedy where we see the girls go to this other school and compete and you see their interactions with the girls from that school, that sort of thing. And we see, about their friendship, within their club and them talking about the club and why they they formed it, that sort of thing. And their love for the sport, that sort of thing. So it continues to just be an easy watch, like I said, it's very low stakes. It's not a lot happens and it's very exciting or anything. But yeah, if you want an anime that's very low stakes, very calm and chill, and very, like I say, about the characters and their friendship and stuff, then I guess you'll like it. I think I can recommend it to you. I think you'd enjoy it. But yeah, if you're definitely looking for something a little more, I don't know, like I said, I originally thought it was going to be more of a sports anime. I feel like sports anime are a little more, high adrenaline, and it's about people really into the sport or like the activity, and you see them competing and being competitive and training hard and, you know, all sorts of stuff. If you want something in that style, this isn't it. It is more of an easy watch. So that's why I say, you know, I recommend it as an easy watch, but I don't recommend it as like a sports anime. Because even though, you know, you do kind of learn about this activity and they talk about this activity a lot, it doesn't really have the sports anime sort of, how do you say, like story, you know? It doesn't really have like the competition and the rivals, that sort of thing. It is very calm. But it's an enjoyable watch enough, I guess. You know, I'll probably stick with it. So, yeah, you know, I'll see about what I think near the end of the season. Hopefully it continues its lightheartedness and hopefully it continues to be fun. But yeah, once again, that is Rifle is Beautiful. If you want to check it out, not too sure what it's on. I want to say it's also a Funimation exclusive. But, you know, as always, you can check it out, see if it's in any service near you. There you go. Alrighty, finally, switching over to video games. The video game that I want to talk about that I was able to check out and that I've been having a lot of fun with is Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, Luigi's Mansion 3, you've probably heard me talk about it on the podcast, you know, a few times about different updates and that sort of thing. I've been excited for it, and I don't really know what to say except for the fact that I have really had fun with it so far, and that I really just recommend it, you know? I think if you love Nintendo games, I think if you've enjoyed the other Luigi's Mansions, I think you'll like this, you know? I mean, that's all I can really say. I guess just to try to be a little more specific about what I like about it, I love that when the game starts, it has a lot of charm. Other Luigi's Mansions games, not they're bad, but like the first one, you know, I do like the tone setter of like Luigi walking through the forest, that he walks into the mansion and he's like all spooked and stuff. I do like that, but this one, it just has a charm that's like different, you know, and it definitely feels like next gen, if it makes sense. Because basically this one starts with Mario, Peach, a bunch of Toads, and Luigi on a bus. And you see them on their way to like a vacation. And, you know, then, you know, it shows that Luigi's like sleeping on the bus. And then the Polterpup is there with him. Then they arrive at the hotel or whatever. They're greeted. You can kind of walk around the lobby, talking to people, looking at the luggage, that sort of thing. Then everyone's sent to their rooms. And basically Luigi goes to his room and he falls asleep like immediately. And then like once he wakes up, like that's where like the plot happens, you know what I mean? But yeah, just like that opening cinematic was just so charming. Because it's really cool just seeing like the Mario cast like outside of the Mushroom Kingdom and just doing like everyday things, you know? Like that's not something that you ever really get to see in any of like the games, you know? Like in all the games, it's basically like, oh, you know, you see Peach get kidnapped and then it's go save Peach and you jump right into the action. And here, it was just really cool seeing the little setup of like, oh, everyone's going on vacation, they're hanging out. On the bus, you know, you see Peach sitting next to Mario, and you can see him talking and just chilling, which is like, you know, it's interesting to see that. That's really fun. And yeah, so I just love that. I love how like chill the game feels at first and how charming it feels just being able to like just have these characters just hanging out. And then yeah, once the game starts, you know, it just looks really good. Has lots of cutscenes, but not like so much that's annoying. Like they're not long cutscenes. They're like, you know, pretty short here and there. But like, the way they integrate cutscenes into the gameplay is awesome. The gameplay itself is really fun. It took me a while it took me like a moment to get used to it. Because I went in just thinking, you know, Luigi's Mansion 1, because that's the one I've played like a few times to completion. And no, you know, even though this is a console title, they did still grab stuff from the portable, you know, Luigi's Mansion 2, and they did bring some of those mechanics over. And so it kind of took me a bit to go like, oh, right, they are sticking to some of these mechanics, you know? So it took me a bit, but once I got used to it, I think, like I said, the gameplay is really fun. I think they've definitely added like more moves and stuff. Like the fact that they keep improving the gameplay and adding to it with every entry in the series, I think that's really impressive. And yeah, just it's really fun. You know, I love catching the ghost. I love running around. I love being Luigi. I think that's really fun. I love collecting money. Like in the originals Luigi's Mansion, I remember collecting so much money and hunting around everywhere because I really wanted that A rank or whatever rank is the highest. You know, like it was like the biggest like house reward or whatever. So sure enough, here, right away, the first thing I did is just explore every nook and cranny and use the vacuum on every item I see, because I want that money, you know? So yeah, you know, in case you're wondering if the game is good, I recommend it. I think it's fun. Like I said, I think the visuals are good. I think the gameplay is good. I think that it just has this charm of just, you know, seeing at the beginning it be this like normal vacation, like seeing the characters just hanging out. I thought that was really fun. And then once the plot actually starts, where it's about Luigi having to save everybody and make his way through the hotel, like that part's just charming too, you know? I love that this is like the third Luigi-focused game. And I love that, you know, you can kind of see that even though he does still kind of freak out, you kind of see some of that confidence, like it's not his first rodeo, which I think is really fun. So yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3, I recommend it. I think it is a ton of fun, and I hope to play more of it, because I've had a blast with it so far. So there you go. Alrighty guys, and that basically brings me to the end of my week. As I said, I didn't get to do too much stuff because I was wrapping up my, you know, Spooktober event, and so I didn't leave me too much time to like personal, you know, stuff. But hopefully, you know, you guys enjoyed hearing me talk about, about those 4 anime, you know, one last time all the same. And yeah, definitely next week, I hope to have more to talk about. I do know that there's some anime that started late that I want to, like, you know, take a look at. I know there's some anime that started like pretty early in the season, but I hadn't really heard about them until, you know, some people recommended them and stuff. So hopefully next week, I should have some new anime to talk about. Hopefully some games to talk about, because I know there's some stuff coming out soon. And yeah, we'll see what else. You know, maybe some TV shows, maybe some movies. Who knows? But transferring over to the week, looking through the stories, it's really funny because, you know how earlier I said about, you know, stuffing the skeletons back in your closet? But I meant it more as like a, you know, put your decorations away because, you know, Halloween's over. This week, we have quite a few news stories that I feel like they pertain more to like the other type of skeletons in the closet. You know, that means like when you have something to hide. I feel like a lot of these people in these stories are trying to hide the skeletons in their closet. So, you know, kudos to me for saying that earlier, because it applies here. But of course, before we get into the bad news, I do want to start with a good news story, and it ties into the whole, you know, Mario franchise. And that is, of course, as the title of the article states, Shigeru Miyamoto selected for Japan's Person of Cultural Merit 2019 award. So, quite a short news story, not too much to say, but I just think that it's like a fun thing where apparently Japan picks someone that they think has made contributions to like art, literature, film, science, or other mediums. And I guess for this year, they decided to recognize Shigeru Miyamoto. And for anyone who doesn't know, you know, quick recap. Shigeru Miyamoto is one of the big figureheads over at Nintendo. You know, he's been very involved with like Donkey Kong, Mario, Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, like all these like really famous games. And so this year, Japan decided to consider him and award him as being someone who's been, you know, culturally significant to Japan. And so I think, number one, that's really cool. I think he definitely deserves it. I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto looks like a really cool guy. Like, he's always trying his best to just, you know, keep Nintendo going forward and keep making fun games for like gamers. He looks like he's a guy who works really hard. So being recognized as someone that important is really cool. And number two, it's really cool too because apparently this is the first time that they ever choose someone that has anything to do with video games. Like in the story itself, it even says, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog co-creator Yuji Naka offered his applause on Twitter saying, "Congratulations, this is a first for the gaming industry, right? I'm really glad that people from the game industry are chosen now." So yeah, you know, it's cool because not only is it recognizing Shigeru Miyamoto, who is a very, you know, awesome, like I said, he's a guy who definitely works hard, very prolific, but it's also pretty cool to see that they're, you know, taking gaming a little more seriously and that they're considering it culturally significant, which, you know, it makes sense because Japan exports so many games and they're so, you know, they're such pioneers in the field that seeing gaming be taken, you know, seriously along with like art and literature and film and science and stuff, like, that's cool, you know? So I just want to share that story real quick. I just thought that was a fun little story. And like I said, I want to have a little positive story because, man, some of these coming up, they're a bit rough. So I thought I would open with a positive one. So if you want to read about it, link in the description below. Let's move on. Alrighty, kicking off our more janky, more pathetic, news stories that are just kind of sad. As the title of the first one states, Sony issues refunds to unhappy WWE 2K20 PlayStation 4 players. So I don't know if you guys have seen any of the footage about this online. I don't know if you guys have seen any of like the viral videos or memes or any of that stuff. But WWE 2K20 got released and the game is broken beyond belief. It has so many bugs and glitches. Like, it is embarrassing, guys. Like, I'm telling you, go look up any footage for it. It is hilarious how bad the game is. Like, there's issues with everything. Like, I know I saw there was like an issue where someone's supposed to be like in a ladder match, and then for whatever reason, I think they're gonna be like grabbing onto like the briefcase. But then I think instead they're just like levitating in midair and they're just hanging there until like, bah, they just hit the ground. They just like smack onto the floor out of nowhere. And there was like another one where I think it was somebody, I think it's like somebody about to like iron whip somebody, right? I think that's what they're doing. I think they're just like trying to like, they're trying to like throw them against the ropes. But I think instead, like the person keeps spinning around the ring and like all of the ring ropes are like shaking violently everywhere. And then I think like the referee like teleports in and out of existence and stuff. Like really weird stuff like that. One more, you can look, like I said, you can look up yourself because I can't even remember the specifics. But one that I remember stood out. Someone's fighting Hulk Hogan, but for whatever reason, Hulk Hogan, like the model is broken. So he's like a large like head and like torso with like spaghetti limbs. And it looks like this like eldritch abomination attacking like the player's character or whatever. And just all sorts of glitches like that and bugs that don't even make sense how they made it into the game because they're like that bad. Like the game is broken beyond belief. And I mean, if there's something good that comes out of it, it's that at least there's all the funny stuff to laugh at, because there's just so much footage of the game being a piece of crap. But besides that, though, it does suck for anyone who bought the game because it's a broken game and you paid full price for it. Like, that's really sad. But as the, article's talking about, I guess Sony knows that the game is so broken that they're basically just giving people refunds. You can almost say like no questions asked. It even says here, it says that, some people haven't been that lucky because of Sony's 14-day refund rule. But then, there's like some pictures here and like a little video where people are saying that, if they're talking to like the live chat, what do you call it? Like PlayStation support, like that's making it way easier because, like there's a picture here where the guy just says, I want to request a refund. The game's faulty. And the guy says, yeah, let me see your phone number, first name, last name, that sort of thing. And it looks like they gave him his money pretty easy. It looks like they didn't give him that much trouble. So I don't know. It's just sad though to see that the game is just that buggy and that broken. And yeah, it's one of those things where over the years it sucks because I remember wrestling games used to be really fun. I know like one of my favorites is like the one for the GameCube. I think it's called something like Day of Reckoning. And man, that game was fun. And it had so much customization options. And I popped it in not that long ago. I want to say like at the beginning of this year. And it still holds up pretty well. But along the way, I don't know. They've just, ever since they became like the 2K games, I feel like they try to make them too much like a simulator of wrestling. And so they're not that fun to play anymore because they take them like too seriously. And they try to make them too technical. And just, I don't know, it feels like they pump them out every year too. Which that obviously just kind of kills the series or the franchise, whatever you want to call it. But regardless though, if you guys haven't seen the story before, there you go. Just want to share that with you guys. And really, I recommend looking up 2K20 footage because it's hilarious how broken it is. If you want a good laugh, at least the game gave us this. At least something good came out of it because, man, some of that footage is hilarious. Alrighty, moving on. Last week I talked about Blizzard and how they were kind of in some hot water because of the whole, thing with China, how it seems like they're kind of at China's beck and call. They said, they banned that guy because he was protesting he was trying to bring attention to the Hong Kong protests, and he was being very vocal about it. And first, they had banned him for like a year, then they cut down on the banning and they gave him his money back, all that crap. And so yeah, people aren't that happy with Blizzard. And apparently, it's really sad because they messed up like a week away from BlizzCon, which is this huge event where they're supposed to be talking about like the newest like Blizzard stuff. And sure enough, from what I've seen online, it seems like BlizzCon has been quite a mess and they don't even know how to apologize. You know, they've been giving half-assed apologies, which that's a whole story in and of itself. But kind of, I guess, tying into that, the part that I wanted to share is that Overwatch 2 has been announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So, surprise, surprise, Blizzard is in hot water. They need something to try to distract people from all their wrongdoings, during this BlizzCon or whatever. So no surprise, they announce They announce Overwatch 2. And, it sounds interesting because it's like, okay, this doesn't really seem like a sequel game. This seems more like an update. So what's the deal here? And when it comes to people who like are working on the series and big figureheads, you can tell that they don't really know either. Like, there's even an official statement somewhere saying that they don't know when Overwatch 2 will, come out. And so, yeah, it's just like a really pathetic thing. Like I said, it just feels like it's people trying to stuff the skeletons back in the closet, try to keep them hidden because Blizzard doesn't know what they're doing. Basically, if you follow the story, it seems like they're just trying so hard to distract people and put them back on good terms that they're announcing games and stuff that they don't even know when they're coming. And they don't even have any idea if these will work or not. Like, they're just trying to throw everything at the wall in the hopes that people will forgive them. So yeah, man, if you can look it up, the whole thing with Blizzard is just really ridiculous. It's just really silly. And yeah, the fact they would announce this game and try to sound all excited about it, but it's unclear what it really is because it doesn't really seem like a sequel. It seems more of like an update, it's just like more like new stuff or whatever. And the fact that they said, yeah, we don't know when it's going to release or whatever. I don't know, man. It's just really sad, but I just want to share that because, I've been kind of, following the story. I just thought it'd be interesting to share with you guys. But yeah, if you play Overwatch, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Do you plan to keep playing or has the whole Blizzard fiasco, do you plan to stay away now? Let me know. I'm interested. Let's move on. Alrighty, moving on to movie news. My first set of movie news, it's an update from a story from a while ago, but basically, if anyone remembers, when the Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer came out, it got downvoted to hell, and there was so many negative comments and criticism about how Sonic looked awful. I'll admit, I was one of the people criticizing it, because I think Sonic looked creepy. He had this weird, lean, muscular runner's body, which doesn't really fit Sonic. It just looked really creepy. It looked like it was just a person in a blue suit, honestly. It was really bad. And, the studio said that they were going to take the time to fix the model, and that then they're gonna release the movie in February. They pushed it back, till next year. And as the title of this article states, Sonic the Hedgehog movie Standee may reveal characters' improved design. So even though they haven't showed any new trailers or anything, they haven't really talked about, how the movie's going or anything. Apparently there was this Standee, at a movie theater that just got posted up. And the Sonic movie, Standee, it has a different Sonic on it from the original. And so that's why people are saying that seems to be it might be a hint at what the new model will look like. And sure enough, if you look at the picture, in the article, it looks better, I guess. I mean, instead of it being this really creepy, skinny, muscular Sonic, it kind of looks like his original design, from the classic games. It's kind of a more, what would you call it? It's a more, portly, short Sonic, instead of being stretched out. I think he looks a little more, I wouldn't say he's fat, but he just doesn't look as stretched out. He just looks a little more round. He looks a little more, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I do think his proportions look better, and his hair does look better too. And let me see. I'm trying to look at his shoes. I can't tell if his shoes are realistic or if they're more like the big old soap shoes. But yeah, it definitely looks better. His eyes look more normal now. His body, like I said, the proportions just aren't as creepy anymore. He doesn't look all stretched out or anything. So that's good, I guess. However, the bad thing is that just because the Sonic looks better doesn't mean the movie was going to be better. Because if like the humor and like the story and the acting are still bad, then unfortunately, if Sonic looks better, that still isn't gonna fix the movie, you know? So I guess I'm still kind of curious how this will affect the movie, because if the movie's bad, it's still gonna be bad. But I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, even though the design change doesn't necessarily mean a change in quality of the film, it is one of those things where it is interesting to see that the studio actually, you know, paid attention to fans and then decided to like redo it, you know? Because there's so many studios that they see that people are unhappy with the movies that they're making or like the products that they're making. And even though people complain, they either just go with it or they just make sequels that nobody wants. So, you know, even though, like I said, I can't say the movie's gonna be good or anything, I do at least say, you know, props to Paramount for at least, you know, paying attention to fans, saying, hey, we screwed up, or sorry, let's try to fix this. So, I don't know, you know, link is going to be in the description below. You can look at the picture yourself. You can decide for yourself if you think he looks better or not. And yeah, when that movie comes out, it's probably going to be a trash fire, not going to lie. But I am excited to watch it. I'm excited to see how good or bad it's going to be. So yeah, February 14th, keep an eye on it. I know I'm going to watch it. There you go. Finally, my last news story that fits into like the oof category, because like I said, this week had quite a few of them. As the title of the article states, Star Wars Trilogy from Game of Thrones creators canceled. So for anyone who doesn't know, the guys who made Game of Thrones, I'm trying to look up their names. It's David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Yeah, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Hopefully I said their names right. They were referred to as D&D, you know. It's just so ridiculous. So it's been speculated by fans that the reason the last season of Game of Thrones was so bad, it was so rushed, was because these guys were in a hurry to go direct Star Wars. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's just like a, you know, people throwing it out there. It seems like it's a pretty legit, you know, theory, because when they were asked, you know, when they were approached that they could make, I don't know, let's just say they, like, you know, like HBO said, you know, oh, you know, do you guys want to make like 12 episodes? They said, no, we'll only make 8 or whatever. Like, they turned down the chance to make more episodes. Like, they wanted to, like, just, it seemed like they just wanted to be done and be out of there, right? So not only did they, you know, take a smaller number of episodes, but if you watched the last season, it just felt very rushed. It felt very like they were trying to just wrap things up in a hurry. Like, it's bad, you know, like that's a whole new story, right? But the sad part is that, okay, let's say they ditched Game of Thrones because they wanted to go make Star Wars. Well, that's already a very, like, sad story, and it's, like, very, like, crappy. The fact that they are now ditching the Star Wars trilogy because they say they're going to focus on more of, like, their Netflix projects, that means that they ruined Game of Thrones for nothing. Think about how sad that is. Because if they had, you know, like I said, if they had ditched Game of Thrones, but then they went and made their Star Wars movies and, you know, they were successful or whatever, or they did well, or, you know, whatever. I mean, at least it feels like there's a reason, you know? It feels like they had their reasoning, as crappy as it might be. But the fact that they ditched Game of Thrones and, you know, made it, like, wrapped it up very in a hurry and made it really crappy, and that the reason that they ditched Game of Thrones, they then ditch to work on, like, their personal projects with Netflix, that's really sad. And that's like a big oof, you know what I mean? And it just sounds so ridiculous too, because it says right here, Deadline broke the news of Benioff and Weiss's parting ways with Lucasfilms and their intended Star Wars trilogy. In a statement, the pair said, getting to talk about Star Wars with George Lucas and the current Star Wars team was the thrill of a lifetime. However, in August, Benioff and Weiss signed a 9-figure deal with Netflix, and it's that deal which has left them with no time to spare for Star Wars. So it's like, my guys, you really need to focus on what the hell you're doing. You can't just keep leaving all these projects half-started, you know? Like, oh man, like, it's one of those things where, like, it just sounds so bad. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, the fact that you're jumping from one project to another, and that you seem to just be making it all about the money, where it's not even about, like, oh, I enjoy Game of Thrones, or, oh, you know, I enjoy Star Wars and I want to work on it. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you just, like, are ditching stuff because of, like, where the money's at, like, that's really sad. And the fact that they're not, like, sticking to, I don't want to say promises, but, you know, the fact that they didn't stick to the stuff that they said they're going to work on, that's really sad. So, I don't really know what to say. I just think it's really sad. I just think it's really pathetic. I think it's, like, really sad for Game of Thrones fans knowing that your show got ruined because this guy's ditched it. And the thing that they ditched it for isn't even happening anymore. I think that's really messed up. But I don't know. Link, as always, link is in the description below. You can read about it for yourself. But like I said, when I saw this, I just like shook my head and I was like, oof, man, that's a big oof, you know? So there you go. Alrighty, moving on to my last movie news story. You know, trying to move away from all the negative stuff. Hopefully this one's more of a positive news story. I mean, I think it's a good thing, and hopefully it lives up to being a good thing. But as the title of the article states, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 gets spring 2022 release date. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, awesome movie. I would say it's probably... Not only was it like the best of the year it came out, which, man, when did it come out? Was it 2018? I actually don't even remember anymore. But the point is, when that movie came out, it was one of the best movies that year. I think it's an excellent animated movie. And I think it's a great superhero movie overall, too. You know, like, I think it has some very good portrayals of different types of Spider-Man and what it means to be Spider-Man, you know? It has a lot of heart. And anyway, you know, that movie came out. It was awesome. Ever since it came out, it had been, you know, stated that there was going to be a sequel at some point. And sure enough, you know, we finally have confirmation that the sequel is supposed to come out in 2022. Reading here, it seems that, I don't know, I'm trying to see if it says that any of, I mean, it doesn't say, you know, for sure, like, who's going to come out again or what it's going to be about. It doesn't seem we have any of the information yet, but I'm still excited. Like I said, hopefully it was up to the first one. You know, I just feel like Spider-Verse, there's so much you can, you know, portray. There's so much to go with it because there's so much different types of spider people you can introduce. There's so much villains you can introduce. There's so much storylines to go off of and like crossovers and that sort of thing. So like I said, hopefully it lives up to the first one. Hopefully it brings us more awesome characters, awesome fights. Hopefully it sticks to the same sort of style because like the style from the first one was awesome. And most of all, you know, hopefully it just has some heart, you know? Like after the first one, it was all about Miles becoming Spider-Man and, you know, reaching his potential and like that sort of thing. And it was about how like anyone can be Spider-Man really. And I don't know, hopefully the second one has some sort of, you know, lesson like that too. So I'm excited. Until there's reason to not be, I look forward to this. And yeah, you know, I look forward to it. Hopefully it's good. And, you know, 2022 can't come soon enough. I'm excited. So there you go. Alright, finally, my last news story is an anime news story, and it's one that I'm still kind of confused about. I'm still not really sure how this works, but not too long ago, you know, a few weeks back, I covered a story about how Ash from the Pokemon anime, he finally won a big, like, tournament. Like, he finally became a champion after, like, 20 years of, like, the show being on air. And, of course, you know, with him winning the league for the Sun and Moon, you know, season and the Alola region, you know, that means that he probably has to move on. You know, like, what's the next thing he's gonna tackle? And with the next game coming out being Pokemon Sword and Shield, it would make sense if the next era he goes to is the Galar region. However, we have, like, some footage and we have the opening theme from the new series coming out. And like I said, I'm kind of confused because it seems like they're really shaking things up. Like, even though it seems like it is implied to take place after Sun and Moon, and it seems like it is implied that it is the same Ash, it looks like they're shaking some things up. Because not only, like, usually when there's like a new season of the anime, Ash goes to whatever the new region is. And he spends that whole season in that region with those Pokemon and going after that league. However, it's been said that even though this new season will focus on the Galar region, it says that it won't be only the Galar region. It says that it'll show other regions too. Like, basically, it's going to be Ash traveling all over the Pokemon world this time. So like that's a bit interesting and different. And they introduced that there's going to be like this new rival called Go. And it's this, you know, it's this kid with a little bit darker skin, black hair, blue eyes. He wears like this little hoodie thing. And that's going to be his rival apparently. And it looks like they're going to team up to just travel everywhere. And so far, they've only introduced the one rival / companion, which that's never really happened. You know, usually Ash has at least 2 people with him, if not more. So like that's different. And where, like I said, I'm kind of confused. Even though it seems like it is implied to take place after Sun and Moon, it looks like they are kind of rebooting / retconning some stuff. Because it shows some stuff of like when he first gets Pikachu, and it looks like they're going to revisit that. And it looks like they're going to talk about Pikachu when he used to be a Pichu. Like it shows footage of like a little Pichu, and it looks like it's lost by itself, and it talks, you know, like the way the Pikachu we know, like, it uses like the same tone of voice and stuff. Like you can tell it's like the same voice actress or whatever. So it's really weird. Like I don't know. It seems like they're like, is it a soft reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it a sequel with some retconning? I don't know. So I'm definitely interested in this. I mean, I do want to check it out to like know what's happening, and I do want to check it out because it looks like it's gonna be very different from like other seasons of the show. But as of right now, like I said, I'm quite, you know, confused because I don't know exactly what the show's gonna be. Is it a reboot? Is it just like a sequel with a retcon? Is it like it's a totally new thing? Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's supposed to come out fairly soon. I think it says it's going to premiere on November 17th, which isn't that far from now. It's like about 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for that. And I definitely want to see where the hell the show's going because I don't know, man. It feels like it just gets weirder and weirder the longer the anime's on the air, you know? So I'm interested in that. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Likewise, if you are a fan of Pokemon or if you're just interested in what's happening, I would say check it out. You know, keep an eye open for it. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. Alrighty, guys. And with that being said, that brings us to the end of another news week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully that was something that was either interesting, entertaining, educational. Hopefully you guys don't mind the fact that a lot of those stories were just big oofs. I mean, then again, sometimes big oofs are fun to look at because then you can just look at them and shake your head and just, I don't know, just kind of laugh at how absurd they are. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the news. Normally, this is the part where I would jump over to my content creator spotlight. However, I gotta admit, I haven't really had a chance to check out anyone new in a while. I mean, I still have to catch up on older videos for subscribers that I'm already subscribed to, you know, because of this whole Halloween event. So I haven't had a chance to check out any new content creators or anything. So unfortunately, no new content creator spotlight this week. But, you know, same as I said, hopefully things get back to normal soon. Hopefully next week I have, you know, a new content creator, that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, that kind of awkwardly takes us to the end of the podcast, but there you go. That is one more podcast in the bag, despite the lack of a content creator and despite, you know, me not really having much to talk about when it comes to my week, except, you know, a bit of a retread over anime I discussed before. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully there was something that made it worth listening to you guys, you know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, with that being said, you know, time to say goodbye. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful week. I will try to my best to be back here next week with episode 54. Like I said, things will, you know, fingers crossed, be a bit more normal by then. And yeah, my name is a Wannabe Reviewer. I'll see you guys next time.